The People's Choice Podcast Awards voting is up on the 31st of July, so go to podcastawards.com to nominate the following shows. Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast in the categories of education and also storyteller drama. The Centralist in the category of politics and news. That's with show host Joe Montaldo. Science and Beyond in the category of science and medicine, also with show host Joe Montaldo. The Outer Realm in the category of society culture, with show hosts Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. And the Pittsburgh Paranormal Chasing Prophecy in the category of religion and spirituality. There's another category that opened up for us recently, the People's Choice, so please select for this category as well. Go to podcastawards.com to vote for these 5 shows and any others you enjoy listening to. That's podcastawards.com. And remember, voting ends July 31st, so go ahead and get your votes in.
Sorry about that, guys. That was an old promo. Just so y'all know, Science and Beyond has made it to the final category. Centralist didn't make it. I'm kind of disappointed, but Science and Beyond is the only one of the 5 shows that made it. Outer Realm missed out. Writers of the Future missed out. The Centralist missed out. And Chasing Prophecy missed out. Speaking of Chasing Prophecy, they're at a new time now. They are actually on Tuesdays from 8 to 10, and the Delicious Recipe with Dell actually moved to Thursdays at 6 p.m. So just a little flip-flop there. A couple of things we're going to get into right away. Right off the bat. So a friend of mine from Britain sends me a news clip. Actually, it wasn't even from Britain. A friend of mine from Britain sent me a news clip. The clip itself was from India. So this lady's doing the news, and she's watching Joe Biden talk about COVID and how many people have shots of COVID in the United States. So he kept saying 350 million, 350 million. He even stopped twice and looked through his notes and still came back and said 350 million. So last I checked, the 2019 or 2020 census puts America at around 330 million, 328 to 335 million Americans. So that means everybody plus a few, I guess that's those illegals he don't want to talk about, got vaccinated. The man's an idiot. It's all I can tell y'all. More importantly, on the 4 or 5 interviews that are done overseas, they're basically calling us idiots, not the president, us idiots. So you can go look for yourself. BBC World has done several articles on Joe Biden, which for some reason America won't pick up. None of the news media. The news media here protects Biden immensely. They hated Trump beyond belief, and they protected Biden immensely. I didn't like either one of these guys. Just like I didn't like Hillary and Trump, I didn't like Trump and Biden. So I got to be honest about that. But I got to say, Biden is making Trump look better every day. I mean, first off, the world is like all the media always say, oh, the world hates Trump. Well, that's not true. Apparently they didn't. They hate Biden. I mean, I can't tell you how many media organizations have now. First off, Putin, every time he's asked about Joe Biden, just laughs. Yeah, he was scared of Trump. He ain't scared of Biden. No, not even all. Neither is Xi Jinping for that matter. He's not scared of Biden either. But Trump scared the crap out of both of them. Putin actually said this on 2 occasions. It's hard to understand Trump. He's not the kind of guy you want to screw around with because he might just jump the gun. And he might. You didn't know. That's why North Korea left him alone. That's why North Korea quieted down while Trump was president, because Trump, you never know what he might do. I mean, he didn't want to start any wars, but you never know. You know, he was the first president, by the way, in the last 50 years that didn't start a war. I know, and actually ended too. It's kind of strange. But Joe Biden, here he is, you know, he's on national television in his tan suit, no less. That's why I'm wearing pink tonight. He was wearing his tan suit. And he's going on and on about his tan suit. Now, Biden is weird to me. Sometimes I look into the man's eyes and I see life there, you know, intelligence, coherence. And like the other night in the tan suit, his eyes were just a blur, or just blur is not even a good word. He just wasn't there. And you could tell he was stuttering, he was clabbering, and he kept looking at his notes, and he kept repeating the same mistake when he looked at his notes. He kept saying, 350 million have been vaccinated, 350 million have been vaccinated, 350 million have been vaccinated. No, they haven't. So the reporter from the Indian paper, she's a very intelligent woman. She writes this article up about it. She puts all this stuff up. She did a bunch of Biden's gaffes, which is way more than. Do you know he's got more gaffes in 6 months than Trump had in 4 years? I know, it's ridiculous. And Trump was scary. Okay, let's just be honest about this. And I'm not even trying to compare the two because, it's like apples and oranges. But so the media, and this is the first time in my 58 years of being on this planet that I have heard foreign media say, I feel for you Americans. I have never in my whole entire life ever heard anybody say, I feel for you Americans. It's usually they're jealous or they wish they were us or whatever. Right now, they feel for us. They're scared of what's going on in the world. They're scared about what's going on in the United States. Biden he's just not there. Some days he is, some days he's not. We can't have a president who's not there all the time. And Kamala seems to be scared of her own shadow. I've never seen a vice president that didn't go out and do something. I mean, it took her 5 months to go to the border, and she didn't even go to the border. She went to one of the stations. Yeah, she didn't even actually go to the border. She hasn't done anything. She just stands behind Biden like, okay, I'm here, Mr. Biden. So some of her staff has outed her now. So a couple of her staff members, one says she's completely disorganized and chaos. She tried to get some of her friends together and some of her supporters to say that's not true, but that doesn't help her because they're not in the White House. These people are. And they're saying she is in complete chaos. She doesn't know her butt from a hole in the ground, and she has no business being vice president. Now, two of them actually have come out and said that she said that she has no business being vice president. She was not ready for this job. She did not know what she was getting into. And obviously, you can tell from her performance, she's not ready for this job. Doesn't mean in the future, 5 years, 10 years down the future, she might not be. Currently, right now, she's scared. You can see it in her face. She's scared of what's going on. She don't know how to deal with this. She don't want to be responsible is what the problem is. Any action she takes can bite her in the ass or not bite her in the ass, depending on what she did. If she went down there and took care of the border crisis and not let the Lambda and Delta variant get into our country, she'd be a hero right now. She'd be a shoo-in for a president. But she's not. And she hasn't done anything. I mean, it's just scary how little she's done. So I'm listening to who may be the future president of the United States, DeSantis in Florida yesterday. So he pulled all of his people together. By the way, he's suing CNN, NBC, and the White House for telling lies. So he pulled his Miami people in, his Tampa people in, his Jackson people in. These are all the top medical people in his state. So they were comparing COVID numbers now to COVID numbers last year. They're not even close. So only 10% of their hospital beds are taken up by COVID patients, 12% at the bigger hospitals. He said it's been a complete lie. CNN and NBC have just been lying. It's not that kind of disaster. And the death rate is much lower than it was last year. And this has been reported in several states now about the Delta variant, that the death rate is much lower. But if you listen to CNN or NBC, it's much higher. It's a lie. It's a complete lie. They're trying to scare y'all, but you don't have to take their words because now the governors of other states have now come on, going on YouTube, going on the media, and have started correcting all these lies. So I'm watching this report from NBC today about Texas. Texas needs help. Oh, it's all of its hospitals overrun. That's not true. It's Houston Hospital is overrun. It's Dallas Hospital's not. It's Austin Hospital's not. It's all the rest of them are not. It's the one hospital. Yeah, but the problem with Texas is not that they're being overrun by cases. It's just they don't have near enough workers for what they already have. People forget Texas is the second largest state in the union, population-wise, and land mass-wise, and it's quickly catching up to California. I mean, California said 2 million. The census said 5 million is what California last. And you got to wonder because they lost like 5 seats in the House. Altogether, Democrats lost 11 seats in the House. So in 2022, before the elections even start, they've already lost the House. The Senate goes back to being even because they lost a seat in the Senate. These are seats that are automatically going to the GOP because they lost them. They're no longer in their districts. They're not seats that they can count on anymore. They just don't belong. So that's 11 seats that Democrats lost. So right there, that puts the majority in the Republicans' favor. So if you're a Democrat, you got to be wondering what the hell's going on. Why is everybody leaving New York and leaving California? Well, they're leaving New York because, one, you got a pervert for a governor. Let's just be honest with it. Cuomo's a pervert. And you got a moron for a mayor. De Blasio is just a moron. He's a complete idiot. And if he doesn't think he's not going to get sued over telling people you can't come in the restaurant unless you put your vaccination card out, you're screwed. the NAACP has already started in on this, saying you're discriminating blacks. The Mexicans already started to say you're discriminating against Mexicans. White people, blacks, and Mexicans say you discriminate against our children because they can't come in, because the restaurant owners and business owners said you can't bring your children in because they can't be vaccinated. You can't do that in this country. That is discrimination. It's not allowed in a country, and you can never force anyone to take a vaccination anyway, especially one that has not been approved by the FDA. You can't even do that. What you're asking people to do is put something in their veins that hasn't even been approved by the FDA yet, and it still hasn't been. Now, somebody said one of the Pfizer Moderna was going to get approval soon. Somebody said it happened yesterday. I still haven't seen it anywhere. It's not any in the news media. I have heard there's going to be a third one coming out, a third shot coming out, but only for people with special needs, people who have all kind of other health issues. Yeah, they're going to have one of those coming out. So that I've heard about. I haven't heard about any of the other ones coming out as far as, we've been approved, because they haven't been. Nobody's approved any of these vaccinations, so they can't tell you they have one. The only group that can get away with this legally is the U.S. military. Because you sign a contract with the military, technically you belong to them for however long you sign up for. You belong to them. They can do whatever the hell they want to. Yeah, it's sad, but they can. That's why when Area 51 got sued, when the people sued Area 51, they didn't get that much money, because it's in their contracts that they can get away with this kind of stuff. So here we are. We're in 2021. We're still fighting with COVID. We're fighting with the Delta and the Lambda variants. Now, we heard all over the place that Delta is way more contagious. It was way more deadly. Well, it is way more contagious, but come to find out it's not way more deadly. That was a lie. If you go look at the state numbers of deaths, it's not killing near the people that COVID-19 did. And yes, it is only mostly affecting the unvaccinated. But come to find out, 12% of vaccinated people now have gotten code Delta. So the FDA the CDC don't want to talk about this. The CDC keeps saying, oh, there's not very many breakthrough cases, but that's not true. California, Texas, and Florida have put out their numbers, and it's roughly 12 to 14% of vaccinated people have now come down with COVID. Now, it's a much milder form, and it's not killing them, but they're still getting it. So the CDC is just lying. They want to try to play it down like it's 1 or 2% when it's not, when it's a way larger percentage of people that's getting it. And that's just irritating. So now they want you to take a vaccine that hasn't been approved by the FDA, that now looks like it doesn't even cover all the variants out there. So here we are again. I've been vaccinated before anybody asked. I got the Johnson & Johnson. My wife got the Moderna. And so we are vaccinated. Whether it's going to keep us safe or not, we're going to have to wait and see. I'm in a lot of places in a lot of different areas. I'm in a lot of people's homes, a lot of businesses, for what my daytime job is. That's the main reason I got vaccinated. It wasn't as much protecting me because I had already gotten COVID in January before we even knew it was COVID. Quick story. So one of our customers had come home with pneumonia. And that's what they told him at the hospital. He had pneumonia. Well, we didn't know. So we're working in his house doing it. Well, my son got sick first. He didn't even get off out of the recliner chair for 5 days. Now, he's 35. He couldn't even stand up for 5 days. And then he got a little progressively better. Well, when he started getting better, I got it. I stayed in bed for 5 days. And thank God for Subway. I'm giving you a free plug here. Thank God for Subway's broccoli and cheese soup, because that's what kept us all going for like 2 weeks. But then my wife got it after we did. And she was home for 6 days. But she wasn't getting over it, so she went. Her blood pressure had started dropping, so she went in, and they put her in the hospital for 11 days. The last 4 days, they weren't even sure she was going to make it because they didn't know what was wrong with her. She was having hallucinations, and all kind of weird stuff was going on. And the doctors had no idea what it was. They even seen a shadow on her brain. They didn't know where it came from. And then all of a sudden, as soon as it came on, it went away. They started filling her with stuff, and all of a sudden, she was better, and she was home, and she was out of it. And none of us knew it was COVID at the time. About 3 months after I had gone to see my doctor, she called me and said, I'm pretty sure you had COVID. When you come in next time, I'm going to check you. I came in, I had the antibodies for COVID, so did my wife, so did my son. So we'd all gotten COVID before anybody even knew COVID was around. All three of us survived it. Now my wife is older than I am by about 13 years, so she would have been in one of the high-risk categories, and she survived it. And she kicked it out. So there's been a lot of stuff that's been told to us that's not exactly true. There's been a lot of playing with words, like Fauci. Why aren't we talking about Fauci's emails? Why aren't we talking about the fact that he was paying the Chinese to make these viruses worse, to see how far they could run them up? We know it's true. It's already been leaked. His emails have already been leaked. But for some reason, nobody in our government seems to be interested in this. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to discuss it. And I'm going to tell you why. Currently, right now, this all falls on China. And eventually, we're going to start suing China, not just us, the whole world is. China's going to find itself in bankruptcy because it should have told everybody in October what was going on in their country, but they waited until January of the following year to tell everybody. And by then, COVID was all over the place. And then more and more people are saying this came from the lab, not from their bats. So it's looking more and more guilty, especially with Fauci's emails. It's looking like it came from this lab. Now, when I heard the group in Europe talking about this, they didn't say it was deliberate. They're not saying China did this deliberately. They said that somebody in the lab had an accident and then left the lab and not thinking about it and spread the COVID around the city to different people. And then, of course, being how effective COVID is, it just took over from there. Right now in Wuhan was shut down just recently. All 11 million people are being tested for the Delta variant because now it's rampant in their country. Well, to answer a question that just came in while we were talking, where did the Delta variant came from? Originally, it came from India. The Lambda variant came from Peru. Now, remember, all of our borders are closed, have been closed for quite some time. So, and anybody that does come in has to be tested and quarantined, except for illegal aliens. So let me understand this correctly. If you're from any of the free world nations or even the communist nations and you have business here, you can't come. And if for some reason they're going to let you come, you've got to prove that you either had been vaccinated or you got to quarantine for 14 days. But for some reason, we have let in almost a million illegals, unchecked, unvaccinated, and unloosed. Now, we know for a fact now, thanks to several states, that both the Lambda and the Delta were brought into this country by unvaccinated illegal immigrants. This is all on Joe Biden. This is the man who came in and said, this is his words, I'm going to stamp out the COVID and we're going to get it under control and I'm going to show you how to do this, and blah, 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 blah. And here we are because he didn't secure the borders. We now are dealing with the Delta and Lambda environment that he let loose in our country. Remember, he's the one that said they couldn't stop him or detain him. They had to let him. And worse than that, he's the one putting them in different states around the country. So you can actually follow the breakouts, California, Texas, both big border states, both huge breakouts. But then we found out that places like New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Miami, and Jackson, they were dropping off illegals there anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000 at a time, unvaccinated, untested. So a couple of weeks ago, I'm at my doctor's office, right? I went in for, I got a trigeminal nerve that's going bad. So I went in for prescriptions and my back was killing me. So I wanted to get a referral to get my back checked out. So while I'm there, I'm not kidding y'all, while I'm sitting in the lobby, no less than 400 illegal Hispanics came up while I was there. And they were telling the girl they're illegal. They just got in the country. They'd just been dropped and they want to get tested because they've been in big crowds. So I was talking to the lady because she's actually wasn't even a nurse. She was a security guard. And they had her testing these people because there were so many coming. So over a 3-day period, this doctor's office tested 2,300. When I talked to him just the other day, over 8,000 illegals had been tested in the city of New Orleans. Okay, one of the highest, Louisiana's got one of the highest spikes anywhere of COVID. She told me at least half tested positive. Half. So that means that Joe Biden is deliberately, intentionally spreading COVID around our nation. He's either too ignorant to realize what he's done. And what gets me even worse is the media is scared to talk about this. Now, this is proven now. We know for a fact, science has proven that the Lambda and the Delta variant came from South America, came with the illegal immigrants. That's how it got in our country. Remember, until recently, we had just about COVID stamped out. And then all of a sudden, we had these big waves of people coming in from South America. We know Brazil took it hard, Peru took it hard, Mexico took it hard, and we're just letting them into our country. So, I understand that we need workforce. Okay, I understand that. But why would you let them? You make everybody else from the free world get tested or get a shot before you let them into our nation. But here you're going to let in over 1 million illegal immigrants with no testing, no shots, no nothing. And then you're going to try to blame another party or something else or another president on the COVID? No, you can't do that. So, like I said, I was listening to DeSantis the other day. So he's talking about all the different hospitals in Florida. He compared this year's spike to last year's spike. Last year was much more deadly. They were killing much more people, even though they didn't get nowhere near the New York numbers that killed people. But this year, they're not near as many people are dying. They're also saying the people that are coming in are mostly between 40 and 60. And what is it? The I forgot what it's called. It's my cardio. Oh man. Anyway, if you come in the first 3 or 4 days, they can treat you now. It takes about 3 hours, and within 2 days to 3 days, most of the COVID will be gone out of your body. Now, this was something that President Trump was touting all over the place, but the media, oh no, it's bad, it's going to kill you. The CDC is going to kill you. Now, all of a sudden, we're using it all over our country. No, it's not the pill. Whoever wrote that, no, that's not what it was. This is something else. This is when they extract some of the genes and they turn it into a therapy and they put it back into your body. Yeah, it's working great. Florida's using it all over the place, and they're having excellent success with it. I think Texas is going to be the next one who starts using it. So we now know that this can even be, at least partially cured if you catch it in the first 3 or 4 days. But most people don't realize if you get the flu, within the first 4 days you get the flu. If you can go get Theraflu, and it gets rid of the flu like in 2 days. You don't have to suffer for 10 or 11 days with it. Now, we've moved that way with COVID, but the media doesn't want you to know this for some reason. You can check everything I'm saying. It's easy to find out. You can go look at all the different articles that were done in Florida. Matter of fact, Santos got smart enough that anything that MSNBC and CNN wouldn't put up, he put up on YouTube and other video formats. So you can go look for yourself. You can go listen to the things yourself. So this guy's really putting it on Biden. So Biden's ranting and raving about Florida. So Santos is really, he said, I'll tell you what, Mr. Biden, why don't you shut up until you take care of the illegal borders and the contamination you put all across our country. Dems, what is wrong with y'all? I mean, you just gave the GOP the 2020 and the 2024 election because they can prove this now. So you're done. Even if CNN and NBC stays on your side, the rest of the media is not going to do this because it's dangerous for them. They can lose their... See, it's weird how the media works. So MSNBC and CNN can say whatever they want because they're cable news networks. But NBC, CBS, and ABC cannot because they're over-the-air networks. Yeah, so they have to actually pay attention to what they say, and they cannot deliberately lie or deliberately undermine the truth. If they do, they can be held liable. Cable news can say whatever the hell they want. Why do you think Fox and CNN can say whatever the hell they want? Because they can. Oh, Chris, Fox is just as guilty as the rest. They're just on the other side. Yeah, you got CNN. Well, and CNN is done. I don't know anybody watches CNN anymore. As far as I know, their listenership is next to nil. NBC is dropped their rating. Matter of fact, since Trump went out of office, all the major networks except for Fox ratings have dropped through the floor. So for 4 years, they were using Trump as a way to keep their ratings up. Now they don't have Trump anymore. Trump's actually being quiet for a change. And so they don't have that. So their ratings are dropping through the floor. So they're trying to force whatever they can to get to just keep their ratings up. It's not going to work. And since ABC and CBS and CBN have to adhere to national broadcast compliance, they can't just go around saying shit that they can't prove. It's not like Fox and CNN and NBC on the internet. It's a different thing. And most people don't even know that. That's why the news are so different. If you watch the evening news, if you watch CNN, NBC's evening news and then go watch the NBC on the internet where it's just talk show hosts is all it is. It's not real news. It's opinion news. As a matter of fact, I have noticed that Roku, Vision, quite a few of the other TV networks have now listed them as opinion news. They are no longer listed as news anymore. They're listed as opinion news, meaning that it's not real news. It's just a bunch of people's opinions. It's not based on anything but what they want to base it on, whatever bullshit and they want to try to tell you now. So Biden's in trouble now. I mean, his ratings are through the floor. Kamala only had a 2% rating to start off with when she ran for president. That's all the votes she could pull. She has probably about a 0% rating right now, except even Democrats don't like the woman. So I don't even know what's going on. I don't even know why they picked her. Somebody said, well, she's a woman of color. I guess you can kind of say that, but not really. She never had to go through anything like any of my black friends did. She never lived like that. That's not who she is. She's not a black woman for sure. So it's that was another lie. That's all that was. That was another lie trying to betray you on Americans to get it. So now we got other weird stuff going on. So Trump pulled the highest black and highest Hispanic vote ever for a GOP, way up there. And Biden's numbers were way down on blacks and GOPs, but yet somehow he still won. But now we're finding out in Arizona and Michigan and 4 or 5 other states that he may not have actually won these states. It's starting to look more. They found 750,000 screwed up votes in Arizona. Last I checked up north, now even Pittsburgh now is coming out saying there may be some issues with the voting. So now you've got 5 or 6 states that made the difference. 3 of these states are going to go ahead and confirm this in the next 3 or 4 weeks, proving that Biden didn't win those states. If that's true, he's not president. Neither is Trump, by the way. Neither one have got enough votes. So what, you have a new election? They're not going to give up power, and the military is surely not going to get involved. So we're still screwed. My biggest problem here is the Democrats aren't. So I heard Biden yesterday, Trump did $8 trillion, $8 trillion. Obama did $26 trillion. Shut up, Biden. I mean, you should not even go with this. That's just, Biden accumulated more debt than all the presidents before and after him. Yeah, that's how much debt he racked up on our country. And his GDP never got above 1.3. He has Biden running the same thing at 1.3 GDP. Trump's GDP was 3.0, much higher, and had America way back on the track. So, wherever you want to go with this is beyond me. Like I said, I didn't vote for either one of the guys. I didn't feel comfortable voting for Trump, and I definitely didn't feel comfortable voting for Biden. Hillary scared the shit out of me. I ain't even going to lie to you. She just scared me. That's an evil woman. But, like Michael would tell me all the time, she's a sexy evil woman. Everybody thinks Hillary's sexy. Oh, wait, speaking of Michael, he just popped in. What you doing, Uncle Mickey? Can you hear me?
That evil woman. Who are you talking about, man? Stephanie or Amelia?
No, I was talking about Hillary. Actually, I'll bring you up to speed where I've been. I started out.
Or the Queen of England.
Oh no, the Queen,
I said she was funny.
I know you think the Queen is sexy, but we're not going to go there. We're just going to leave that one alone. I don't know what kind of fantasy dreams you're having tonight, but I don't need to know about those.
I don't think you want it.
Yeah, some dreams I don't need to know about. If it was somebody else, I might ask you. But
it includes a lot of Ben Gay and ibuprofen.
Oh yeah, that's definitely stuff I don't need to know about. Who's been gayed, and I just don't need to know
who's been gay.
But let me bring you up to speed real quick.
Come on, man, everyone's gay once in a while.
So I've crossed over. I've been talking a little bit about, Biden did that speech the other day where he said that 350 million Americans have been vaccinated. And wait, you could tell that somebody talking to him in his ear, right? Because he looked down at his notes because he got it wrong. So he looked at his notes twice and came back up both times and said, yes, 350 million Americans have been vaccinated. Now, I checked for myself.
350?
Yeah. I checked for myself. There's only 328 million people in the country.
Right.
So maybe you count some of these illegal immigrants, but let's be honest. We know for a fact between two of us, only about 160, 170 million people have been vaccinated. It's kind of funny. So now DeSantis got all of his people together, all of his medical people together from Florida to prove what his actual number. He's suing CNN, NBC, and the White House for lying about his numbers. So he showed what his COVID numbers were last year. He showed what they are this year. He showed what the deaths were last year. So the Delta variant in Texas, California, and Florida are not killing near as many people as it did previous. But that's kind of a misnomer. And I don't want people to get the wrong idea here because this is a very deadly virus. So what's going on here is it's happening. Most of the people getting it in Florida are between 40 and 60. So it's not going to probably kill them anyway. On top of that, the other people, that 12% that are getting are people who have already been vaccinated. It's not killing them either. So, yes, the death rate is going to be lower. Now, they did put out a thing on Lambda today, which cracked me up. So, Michael and I have been talking about this because Michael had warned everybody about Delta 5-6 weeks ago. And he's been telling y'all about Lambda. Chris, don't get confused. Delta is still a deadly virus. It's just it's attacking younger people because most of the older population's been vaccinated, so they're kind of safe. And it's attacking younger people, and they're surviving, and they're only going in the hospital. Oh, what's that stuff? That treatment they got? Santos was talking about this other day. So they take out your genes, they put it in, and so no matter what you get, whether it's Lambda, Delta, it doesn't matter what variant of COVID you get. If you get this treatment in the first 4 days, you'll get over COVID in 2 to 3 days. It's a fact proven. Even the CDC hates to talk about this for some reason. So they've proven this now, but it's some kind of treatment that they hated on Trump about, but all of a sudden everybody in the country is using it because it works. I think what they're doing is they're taking like genes from COVID from other people who have gotten over it and mixing it with something else, and they're putting it in, and within 2 days of treatment, actually the treatment only takes 3 hours. That's all it takes.
You mean the antibody treatment?
It's not. No, they called it something else. It started with an M. I thought it was antibody treatment too, but he kept calling it something else. At first, I thought it was that stupid metachlorian drug that Trump was talking about, but that's not what it was. He called it something treatment. So this is what Florida's doing. Florida's always ahead of everybody else. I don't know how they do this. So Florida got smart. So instead of worrying about its emergency rooms, it started setting up all these chairs in all these hospitals and all these other places where you can come in and get the treatment and get over this a lot faster. So Florida's seeing it. Florida is they're predicting that the spike's going to be coming within about a week, maybe a week and a half. So they're going to be looking to go on the downside. California's still spiking. They may have 3 weeks, but even they're looking going now. Who's in trouble is Texas. Now, 2 of Texas' major hospitals are being overrun, but the rest of them aren't. And this is another weird thing. So, like one of the Houston hospitals. Now, people, so y'all know this. There's like 6 hospitals in Houston. Only one of them are being overrun. Same thing in Dallas. Only one of them being overrun. So the media has got this new thing now that everything is worst case scenario, no matter what. But I'll tell you what the Texas governor did say. He said that they have a big shortage of people working the hospitals. He said it's not the amount of cases we're getting. He said we had this before COVID started. He said we are having a hard time because there's so many people in the state of getting quality people to come to the state and work there. And not just them. I mean, all the states are. But for some reason, this is coming out. This is crazy.
This is a weird thing, right? The original COVID, there's a percentage chance that you would die. Yeah. By the time you got here to the States, it was like 5%.
Yeah,
then it went down to 3.5%. Then it went all the way down to like 0.5%. So this variant, unfortunately, it doesn't just kill people. In fact, it's not even as deadly. What it does is destroy your organs, your lungs.
Talking about that.
You get 30-40% lung reduction for the rest of your life. I mean, that's for a kid. Imagine that, man.
And I'm really glad you brought that up because, see, that's one of the things that the Florida governors were talking about, all of his people he had with him. He said, look, y'all are not understanding. He said, this is what this treatment's for. He said, get tested. He said, the day you feel bad, go get tested. If you test positive, come see us. We will get this in here. Because he said the same thing. If you go more than 4 or 5 days with a full-blown Delta variant or Lambda, you are looking for lung problems, heart problems, kidney problems, liver problems. So they're telling you, come get this treatment within the first 5 days, and you can avoid that. If you don't, people, especially ones who ain't been vaccinated, if you don't, you're asking for problems that you're going to be dealing with.
So look at it this way, right? Like if you die, you die. You're in the hospital, you're dead. They put you in a body bag and they push you out the door. If you have COVID, mainly it's a 10-day isolation. If you recover from it, whatever, most people end up not going to the hospital. Yeah. The ones that do, though, especially now, let's say it goes after your kidneys and you got to go on dialysis and stuff or whatever you need to do to remedy what it does to your organs, that's long-term care. And then you need those people, like you said, those nurses, those doctors, you need those attendants. And then they walked off the job since last year because they were so exhausted and unsupported, and they're boots on the ground. They saw all the stuff firsthand. But now my fear is this COVID is going to hit people, lower their immune systems, and then a more deadlier version is going to come through and be the 1-2 punch. Because Joe, in life, there's always a 1-2 punch, man. If something, even a hurricane, hits you one way, then it comes and hits you another way.
We're going to talk about that later in the show because they got a lot of
because they got one beeline.
Well, yeah, but they got the insurance companies put out their thing for last year. So the insurance company said this themselves today. They spent over $10 billion last year, or $100 billion last year on 5 storms along the coast. It's not all the storms. They're just talking about the coast. So they're saying if this happens 2 more years in a row, there is no more insurance company.
There's no vaccine for hurricanes, man.
Yeah, they're not, unfortunately. In the old days, there were things they used to try, and for some reason they quit doing it. Like you can super cool the inside of a eye of a hurricane, and it will make it calm down. And they know this, but for some reason they never try to do it.
There'd be an ice storm for Florida. They'd be so mad at you.
Could be that too.
They'd be so mad at you, man.
I know.
20 feet of snow and ice in Florida.
Be like what happened to Texas last year. In poor Texas. They're like Louisiana. You can't give them an ice storm. They don't know what the hell an ice storm is. What the hell is this?
They had the deep freeze. Then they ended up in 100 degrees.
They have no idea. 100 degrees they can deal with, but the ice storms, they just don't. They don't have salt roads. They have nothing to salt the roads with. And Southerners don't get the concept that you don't step on the brake when you get to the stop sign. You step on the brake way back from the stop sign.
Exactly.
And but no, they wait till they get it and just slide right on through.
I have a Jeep with the best silent armor tires, all that stuff, and that thing doesn't stop on a dime, man. Especially if it's like there's all different types of snow. There's the fluffy,
Mhm.
crunchy, but then there's that slick, icy snow.
And we get
That
a lot of the ice
that
because we
that
don't get.
stuff, but the slick stuff gets in between your treads, man, and then the wheels on your car become like a ball of ice. So it's really, and it depends on throw off track. That's why I'm moving the hell away from the Northeast, because I'm tired of that. You know
Well,
what I
it's
mean?
worse than that. I remember way back when I bought a Cadillac. A friend of mine had brought down from up north, and I didn't think about the roads being salted. Well, finally one day I climbed under the back. All the back struts were eaten out from the salt. They were just completely gone.
I
I don't
moved
even know what was
upstate.
holding a damn trunk up on his car. To be honest with you,
When I moved
yeah,
upstate, I had a Cadillac Fleetwood coupe. How often do you see a two-door Fleetwood? Like almost never, which is why I bought it. Upstate New York killed that car, man. It killed it. It even had an Oldsmobile engine because it had that HT 4100 crappy engine. And then the guy before me, that didn't, what a dog that was. Like
yeah,
people, they screwed people, man. I miss that Cadillac though. I'll tell you, dude. You know, once your
yeah.
ass knows the feeling of a Cadillac, it remembers forever.
They nice. Well, the one I had the automatic air ride suspension. It had the little air pump under the hood, and
Yeah,
it would adjust the suspension accordingly. That was nice, man. That bitch, you'd be doing 100, it'd feel like you're riding on fluffy pillows, man.
that's why I
Car
want to
was
be in the
nice.
desert under the stars in a convertible, man. But I got my Jeep also, which has, has the sunroofs and all that stuff.
Yeah,
It's just time to go. That's all. You can tell I'm there.
yeah,
I,
it's time. Well, you're not the only one. We were talking about this earlier in the show.
I'm
So
very down right now in New York.
you're the one. You one of the ones I mentioned. But so far, I've got in the last 3 years, I've had about 40 friends move out of New York. Right now, this year, I've got 14 different friends, two former hosts, moving out of New York. And you know where they're going? They're going to Florida or they're going to Texas.
Yeah.
And when I
I don't.
asked
I
them,
don't get
because they all
Texas.
they all well, Texas is a big huge state with a lot of money, but
I'm just saying, maybe Austin, I don't know, but still, the
you don't
whole
want to go to
state of
Austin.
Texas.
No, you don't go to
Texas is such a crummy. I was born there. It was such a crummy type of. It was very unfriendly when I was there, and
It ain't now. Well, it's different. Texas is a weird place. First off, if you're from the snow states, you probably shouldn't go to Texas. They're going to be rude to you. But if you're from the heartland or the west or even the east, they're going to be as polite as they'll
I
be,
was.
just as
I can get
friendly as can be.
if I move there tomorrow, I can get a license plate that says native son because I was born there. I was born. I was
Get a
only there for
license
10
plate
days.
get it. It don't matter. Get a license plate that's anything but the New York plate. Because I'm gonna tell you what, Texas, you driving around in Texas with New York plate, you're gonna get stopped like every other day,
I was a
every
black
other
market
damn day.
baby, man. They paid big bucks for me.
It's
Jokes on them.
Oh, Christopher, no, I'm serious. So I was going to Utah to go give a lecture in Utah, and I rented a car, and unfortunately, it had New York plates. I got stopped 3 times up, 4 times back. And I asked the cop one time, I said, "What are you stopping for?" "Oh, you." I said, "No, I'm not." I said, "I'm looking at my GPS. I didn't speed." And I said, "You stopped me because I got New York plates, right?" And he did. And right when he said that, I flipped open my wallet, which says Louisiana license, and he looked at it. He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. You good?" And every time they seen that Louisiana license, "Oh, you good? Go and get out of here." Because we like cousins, so they didn't care. Just go on. But man, because I had that yellow license plate, they were like, you have no business being in Texas. We want to know what you being." And because I was coming out of Colorado, I was getting stopped.
Yeah.
Oh man, they want to know
I was paranoid coming out of Colorado. I was
you
paranoid
should
going
be.
in, coming out. You know what? Because cops are looking. They're sitting right there looking at you.
No, no, they
Especially if you
wouldn't
have New
see.
York license plates, that stands out, man. In
Well,
1990, when I drove across the country, I was how old was I? 20, 23, something like that. And I had a permanent FU attitude in New York City. You know, what I mean,
yeah,
NYPD. Anybody comes around, it's like you just, whatever is whatever. You don't mess. People don't mess with you because I've been messed with enough. Like I've been attacked by cops in protests and things like. So you get to a certain point where you don't want to take anybody's crap anymore. When you leave and you go out there in the world and you got different places, especially, and you look a little different, you gotta chill. You have to chill because it could be a highway in the middle of nowhere with some Alabama state trooper, right up your ass, and whatever they say goes. And that's the shame of it. That people have cameras now, though. Like they
yeah.
can start recording and all that. But
Oh yeah,
man,
and I do all the time. Oh, I just seen this. Somebody just sent me this. CDC urges vaccines during pregnancy. Look, people. I, I, I I gotta say,
comes the
I'm saying no. I'm
baby.
saying no to that. Look, these people don't have
Just
no idea what they pumping
baby.
into our veins. And I got my shot, but I wouldn't.
How do
No,
they know how the vaccine affects a fetus?
they don't.
And I mean, being that it's a separate body, a separate human, you know what I mean? I mean,
They have
they
no
argue that it's
idea.
not, but it
Their
certainly is.
argument is, oh, it'll keep the mother safe. Yeah, well, it'll kill the baby.
All right,
No, no, no.
so if there's no vaccine for babies, there's no vaccine for children up to 12 years old. Why would they do something like that and
Because they
endanger a
ignorant.
fetus?
They ignorant. You know what? We're going to backtrack since you're here. So I was talking about Wuhan. All 11 million people got to get tested. Come to find out, some people in Beijing. But anyway, so they locked down Wuhan. They're testing everybody right now because the Delta variant is going crazy over there as well. Well, just recently, the EU put out a report saying they're pretty sure that someone walked out of this lab, probably contaminated, and spread it around Wuhan. They don't think it has anything to do with bats anymore. And when they asked, the guy said, well, it's because it mutates so fast. He said, no, viruses have a tendency to mutate a lot. He said, it's not the fact that it's mutating so much. He said, any virus will do that. He said, it's the way it's mutating. He said, it's the progression of the mutation each time it doubles, where he said, normally you'll see a mutation a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit there. He said, you don't see these massive jumps like you're seeing in these mutations. He said, for the few mutations there's been, each one has been a decent sized jump. So, and what I mean is, people, you heard us talking about Delta. Delta is a bad virus. Lambda is a sneaky virus. So your vaccine will stop it, but not nearly as fast or nearly as quick. It has the ability to, how can I say this, to hide itself, or not to hide itself, but disguise itself would be a better way of saying it. So it can trick. So what happens is 50 antibodies may go by before 51 catches it.
You want to know what it does?
Yeah, get out. Let them know.
This is how slick it is, right?
It's slick.
It covers itself with antibodies, like a Trojan horse. They're calling it like a Trojan horse variant. So it covers itself with antibodies, and it floats right past your white blood cells, right past other antibodies, and then it goes to the cells and starts to replicate. That's amazing, man. Yeah. And then now the lambda is slippery, so the vaccine and all that won't stick to those proteins. It'll just fall off. So that's the scary part, man. It's amazing.
It is. That's what they were saying. They were saying that again today. They were saying, so out of every antibody, it's like, so out of the hundreds of thousands in your body, he said the first couple hundred, it may not even notice it. It might even touch it. And if it does, it's going to slide off. He said eventually one of them will stick.
You want to hear the irony? The irony is when they're doing antibody therapy, they're looking for people that didn't have the vaccine, who got the variants or whatever, and your immune system pops. Your immune system is supposed to pop to the height of the attacker. Now they're saying the vaccine changes that, but is that good? Is that bad? Is the vaccine stopping people's immune system from popping? But I'm seeing the numbers of the people who are vaccinated who get it. They're not dying. And they're not getting really ill, and they're not really going to the hospital. There's been about 3,800 since the beginning, and mainly Pfizer, and that's what Israel said. My little doctor's group, man, that Pfizer's got about 33% protection, whereas J&J is high and Moderna is high.
Yeah, so, well, last I heard with J&J for any of the variants, it's not above about 65%.
About 65%, yeah, right?
But people, so it's not that the other 35% are going to die. They're just so half of them will get sick. The other half are going to be asymptomatic. They're going to just be carrying it around.
But if you do get sick, you don't really risk
you're not going to die, basically.
Losing your organs or having some myocardial problem with your heart, or you know what I mean. Like I've even seen brain swelling in children. There's encephalitis.
Well, it's funny you brought that up, because when they didn't know about this, when my wife was in the hospital, she was having hallucinations, and then they found a shadow on her brain, and they had no idea what this was, and no one knew about COVID at the time. People, we all thought we had been exposed to pneumonia. That's what the guy's house we were working at. That's what made my son sick, made me sick. We didn't find out till months later that we had COVID. And what was weird about this? When I went in and offered, because they tested me and found out for sure that I had COVID and I had antibodies, I said, well, it's only been 3 months. Would you like to take some antibodies? They told me no. I'm still confused by it. I'm not going to say what place it was, but they told me no. I was like, really? I said, so now you can get paid, by the way, people, in case you didn't notice, if you have COVID antibodies and you've not been vaccinated, you can get paid for these now. You can get paid for the ones for antibodies, but they don't pay as much. And Chrissy, I did. Oh, I'm sorry. I caught the wrong person. Bethany, There is going to be a third vaccine, a third shot coming out, but it's not for everybody. It's only for people with immune problems.
They're
So,
working on a booster, so they're just
yeah,
testing it
yeah.
out now. They tested out of a few thousand people in the last several days,
Yeah,
and
it's a matter
they're
of fact,
seeing
it's
what
right
that
in front
does.
of me. It says FDA expected to allow a third vaccine dose for some Americans, and that's what they mean. You're not all going to get it because now, and this is another thing that bugged me. So, all three of the big guys came out and said these vaccines should be good from anywhere from a year to 18 months. Now, I got okay. First off, people, the flu vaccine is never good for more than 6 or 7 months. After that, it's done. So, why all of a sudden are these vaccines lasting so much longer?
Now, worldwide, these vaccines are also at their expiration date, so
Yeah.
they don't know how the effectiveness is past that. You know,
And we're gonna find out now. See that the UK has just said, okay, we're just gonna ride this out because I guess they got enough vaccinated people and enough of this treatment that they feel that they can beat this out.
Israel's
And
number one country that's vaccinated. Now there's a travel advisory not to go there.
yeah, well, because they got it too. I mean, there's nobody. But you know what's
Breakthrough
weird?
infections. Yeah.
You notice you don't hear anything about the Middle East or Russia or China or Venezuela. Even South America now has gotten quiet. Now we know, Michael, because it's being brought in our country from South America. That shit's all over down there.
Oh yeah.
So they now slammed the cases. They haven't found any in Mississippi. They've only found a handful in Texas. Actually, they found 24 in Louisiana, all brought in by illegals. All of them brought in by illegals.
Let me have a breaking news in there. Video reportedly shows nude Hunter Biden saying another laptop with crazy sex acts was stolen from him. So we can
God,
look forward to that coming
why
in
isn't
the
this
news.
guy not in jail? I mean, if this was anybody else, it would
I
be
think
in
he's my
jail.
hero at this point.
The guy is something
I
else,
want to
man.
live through Hunter, man. My
I know.
God, so I can sell my crappy art for tens of thousands of
So,
dollars.
so. Oh man,
I
I got to
love
tell you
that.
about this. So Biden's giving Trump shit about spending $8 trillion, right?
Uh,
In case y'all didn't know this, five of that $8 trillion was on COVID. So in his 4 years as president, he only spent $3 trillion, tripled the economy from Obama's 1.3 to 3.6, brought unemployment to the lowest it's been for blacks and Hispanics ever in the history of the United States, and for whites. But yeah, Biden's going to fault him. I'm thinking, really? So Biden, just in case you didn't know this, Obama racked up spent more money than every president before him and since him. It was 20 or 18 trillion or 19 trillion dollars. Now here you are, Mr. Biden. You've already spent 4 trillion and you're asking for another 3.5 trillion right now. Dude, I mean, come on. It's like the pot calling the kettle black or something. The dude he's an idiot.
yeah, he's not running
He's just
anything.
an idiot.
He's not in charge of anything, man. I think he probably thinks
Well,
he is.
whoever's in charge is an idiot. Y'all listen to me now.
Nancy
You're an idiot.
Pelosi.
No, she ain't in charge either. She's another idiot. Oh, so
They have a
she and
bunch.
wait,
They have a
did
bunch of
you
them
see
making
what
those
she did?
decisions.
Did you see what she did to Senate and Biden? So Biden thought he was getting his infrastructure right. Yeah, the Senate. He finally got it through the Senate. They send it to her house. You know what she tells him?
Mm,
Oh, we're not even going to take it up until this $3.5 trillion bid is passed. What?
tough.
Well, guess what? You just kicked that one out.
Right.
So that's a done deal. You ain't getting any of that. And his own people warned him. Half his party saying if you pass a $4 trillion bill and put the taxes on the people, not only are you losing in 2020, you're losing in 2024 because he said he's going to run in 2024. In case y'all didn't know that, and I don't know why, because he's going to lose any way it goes. He may go. I thought Obama was going to go down as the worst president in American history, but you know what? It may be this guy. He's trying to prove that he's the guy.
It went from Bush to Obama to this. You know what's funny? They always try to outdo each other with how horrible they are.
It seems
What's up
like
with
that.
that? What's up with that?
Well, so they were talking about this the other day. So Angela Merkel was talking about Trump the other day.
Yeah.
She says, I really feel like I misjudged the guy. I didn't give him enough. She said because the world finances and military seemed to be much smoother and much more coherent while he was president. She said, I also noticed that countries like Venezuela and North Korea just shut up. Even Putin, because Putin came out. Putin just said this again the other day. He admitted it. He was scared of Trump. He actually admitted this on television in his own country. He said, "Well, they were asking him about Biden. He kept laughing." And the news lady, who was a European, she goes, "Well, what about Trump?" He said, "Actually, Trump scared me." He said, "Starting something with Trump, you knew you were going to end up in a war. And Trump's one of the guys who don't like to lose. So I think he would have done whatever it took to win." So that kind of scared. And Xi Jinping never talked about Trump. He was scared of him.
When you look at leadership, I mean, look at New York. Look at what a disgrace. You got another New York governor, Democrat governor, stepping down because of their sexual behavior, and
Slap that girl in the ass.
not even including all the dead people
Yeah,
that
no.
from the
And
nursing
that
homes.
they, matter of fact, they're investigating that. Y'all's attorney general said yesterday he's going to investigate that. I guess now that he's gone, they're going to go after him. But
Right.
if
But
they
then
sink in, they
Elliot
sunk their
Spitzer,
next president.
last one, right? I mean, he was with the hookers, the high priced call girls, and say, not didn't want to
Well,
wear a
there's so many
condom and all
liberal
that other stuff. These
pedophiles.
people they're sick though. Do you know what I mean? Like that's beyond normal, like sexual
Well,
behavior.
BBC America put out a list the other day of how many Democrats versus Republicans that have been called out for being a pedophile. It's like 5-1. What is it with
Bill
you libtards? Are
Clinton.
y'all all just pedophiles? I mean, come on, people, get
They
a
all
grip.
hung out with that Epstein, and he was their pimp.
He was their
they're
pimp daddy.
he's dead. They're all protected.
Yeah,
So
he's gone. Nobody can get him, and this woman ain't going to say anything. Matter of fact, you ever notice you hear nothing about his secretary
no,
ever?
you called it on Cuomo saying he would step down fairly soon. I mean,
Yeah. Well, he didn't have a
it
choice
it didn't take long.
He didn't have a choice because once the attorney general said, "Hey, look, we're gonna bring criminal charges," and that girl filed criminal charges on him, he had to. I mean, they were going to go after him. It would have been way more embarrassing now. Right now, what he's hoping, this is what he's hoping, ladies and gentlemen. And his brother kind of alluded to this last night. He's hoping he can pay these people off and they'll go away. But New York said they want to impeach him anyway, so he can't run again because they're scared that he'll pay off all these people and then run and become governor again.
Yeah,
And which he might. I mean, he wouldn't be the first guy to pull that off. The one that's cracking me up is Newsom. So Newsom got on TV yesterday saying how great a governor he was, and there's no way he's getting a recall. So the reporter said, "I guess you haven't seen the recent polls." He said, "These are NBC polls, by the way, sir. 57% of people who voted for you said they want to see you removed." He said, "So you're gone." She said, "You might as well step down just like Cuomo did." Actually, there's been several people in California now say, "Look, you should do the right thing and step down. You're not getting reelected. You're not getting in. Move over and let somebody come." But I did hear the Democrats today say they're scared and worried about this because they're scared some crazy progressive might get in. Oh man, New York can't handle a progressive. Could you see de Blasio as governor? Oh my God. We might as well just detach New York and let it float off if that happens. It'll be a whole
I
different
mean, at one
country.
time New York had a Republican. Had
Right, and they will. They can get another one. I mean, they've had several Republicans have been governor. I mean, we know what's his name. What was crazy? One Trump's guy. Oh, what is his name? You know who I'm talking about. He was there when 9/11 happened. What is his name? He got in all kind of trouble when he went to the Ukraine and shit. I can't think of his name.
Carlos Danger.
No, yeah, that could be his side stage name. It's just the Dems seem to get in a lot of trouble. They get out of it a lot of times. A lot of times they don't. And right now, the country's watching too close. This election was too close. So, they re-advised the election. So originally they said Biden won by like 5 million. They re-advised that down to only like 1.3 million. It was close enough. At the time, Trump could have pushed for a runoff if he wouldn't have won as many electoral votes as he won. So, unfortunately, electoral's the way it goes. And I'm for the electoral college, people. I'm not going to lie to y'all about that. I'm for the filibuster and electoral college. I think that the Dems learned a valuable lesson when they went from a 60 vote to a 51 vote because the Republicans took a massive advantage over it when Trump was in office and even when Obama was in office because it killed them. So the Dems learned that cheating is not always the best way. Getting rid of the filibuster, who, by the way, they used 871 times from Obama's 6 year and through Trump. 871 times they used it, and they want to get rid of it.
Huh.
Ooh, some lady slapped AOC in the face the other day.
Ooh, cool.
And some place down there, she said,
that's kinky, man.
She said, "You're just a disgusting thing to the Americans." She said, "You shouldn't even be allowed in our country." And then AOC and her.
Did they fight each other? Did they tussle on the
no,
ground?
No, it wasn't like that. I don't even think it was a real slap. From the video I seen, it was like it wasn't even a real slap. Besides, if this woman would have went after, she would have took AOC out. AOC would.
She got close enough. That's the important part.
Because she doesn't.
Remember the Pie Guy? The Pie Guy group. I mean, they got Bill Gates and all these other guys. I love watching that footage on YouTube, man. Bill Gates. Bill Gates didn't even register in his brain what even was happening to him when that pie went in his face, because it's not really something that you would expect necessarily. Like someone hit you with a pie. I
Oh, and
just
then
bought some lemon meringue pie, so that's cool.
oh, and then I heard your girlfriend again today trying to say that the Republicans want to defund the police.
Who, Hillary?
Saki, whatever her name is, Sakaho,
Saki,
Vikaho.
Saki, Saki.
I said,
Hillary
look,
might run for governor, man. I mean,
I
it's
would
been
vote for Hillary for governor, just not as president. She has no business being president because she's as corrupt as can be.
we'd have the
But
most
governor.
badass assassin governor in New York, man. It'd be worthwhile staying because she would just knock anybody off that opposed her.
So here goes Biden again. So Biden's on TV yesterday. Hi, I'm Joe Biden, and Democrats don't support defunding the police, but yet in the blue Oklahoma, California, what are they doing? Defunding the police. What do they do in New York? Defund the police. What do they do in Lower California? Defund the police. It's only in the blue states, people. The red states are not defunding the police. Matter of fact, where I live in the deep south, they're actually increasing the police departments.
The dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life to
Yeah,
defund the
yeah.
police.
And
You know what? In fact, they need more money because they need more money for better training.
look,
You know,
I agree. Look, there's a lot of room for improvement with the police departments. I'm not going
oh,
to
yeah.
lie about this. Somebody said, well, they disproportionately go after blacks. Well, that's true and not true. Remember how the cops work. They go after groups that are known to create a lot of crime. Well, currently, right now in the United States, 81% of people in jail are black. So yes, they're gonna look at blacks differently than they look at everybody else. They don't even harass Hispanics the way they do blacks because they don't make up a large prison population. They're going after the people who are causing the problems. Which I agree, maybe if they did it a different way, we wouldn't have as many problems. But Louisiana taught the whole country a lesson after Katrina. So the black people population in Louisiana is dropping steadily. And you know why? Because we did away with the ghettos and we built really nice homes and not projects anymore. We found jobs for people. We got them educated. So now it's not so much that the blacks are going to worry about it. The cops don't screw with them anymore. Half the police department down here is black. So, I mean, it's a different state of being. But the other states, especially the blue states, do not want to follow suit on this. I never understand you blacks when it comes to Democrats. They constantly shit on y'all and you just take it. I just don't get
You know
it.
what it is, man. It really comes down to family, and with I think a lot of people, if your family's Republican, you tend to lean that way. If your family's Democrat, you tend to lean that way. Also, the geography.
But
People in the cities are usually Democrat, and the Democrats control those areas. But these are the most suffering places on the planet, in the United States, anyway.
in the
You
United
know,
States,
you
yeah.
You've got these horrible ghettos all run by Democrats. Nobody ever gets out of there. Nobody ever gets any help. And then they suffer there. AOC is in charge of part of the Bronx and also part of Queens. There's a lot of poverty there, abject poverty piled on top of itself. What has she done for anybody there since she's been in?
But that's a question. What have the Democrats done? I asked my black friends this all the time. I said, what have they done for you? I said, they're not giving you anything. They're not helping you with anything. I said, they just keep getting your vote. But what have they done? I said, every blue city where blacks live is a shithole. And I said, why do you keep voting? I said, let me get this right. I said, let me understand the logic here. So Lincoln freed the slaves, was a Republican. Jim Crow was brought around by the Democrats. The head of the KKK was a Democrat and still is a Democrat, by the way. Voting restrictions were brought around by the Democrats. Anti-busing or bringing people in were Democrats. So all the way up until the 80s, they were anti-black every way around. And don't not forget this, the current president brought in the strictest laws there ever was when it came to crack and cocaine and put how many blacks in prison? And Kamala was with him on this. California went with some of the strictest laws on cocaine and crack. Now today, we've changed that. And it's in the South, we've changed it anyway. So we look at crack differently now. We look at cocaine differently. And we're not putting away brothers in jail for 20 years because they got caught with a crack pipe. Now they're getting rehab or they're getting sent to one of the drug rehab places. And if you get a third time, you might see 5 or 10 years. Before, it was 25 years for possession of a gram of cocaine. Well, if you had crack, you were definitely going to get 25 years. So, all that's changed, but that was all on the Dems. None of the Republicans ever voted for that. So I'm confused. I still don't know what it is the Democrats gave you to make you want to be up their ass so much because really they hate you. You don't have to take my word for it. Actions speak louder than words. So just look at the states you live in: New York, California, Chicago.
The Republicans need they need black people. They need Spanish people. They need more women. You need to mix it up for representation. I mean, that's not too strong a thing to say. It's known as a party of old white men, and that puts a
that's
stamp
not the
on it.
truth anymore. So just so y'all know this, The average age of a Democrat in power today is 72. The average age of Republican power today is 53. And technically, the Republicans actually have more women than the Democrats do in the
But
House. So
also in America, there's never been a true black president, and there's never been a
Obama
black.
was whatever you want to call him.
But he's not black. I mean, he's
He's
his
half white.
skin color. He has no ties to African Americans in America.
No, he
So
didn't.
so if you're from the African American community in the United States of America and you came from that direction, you look at Obama. He was a guy in Hawaii. He was a guy who grew up overseas. He introduced himself.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, his mom is Caucasian. His father was African, but he has no roots to blacks in America. So
Just like what's her name? Don't Kamala don't.
but black people in America are incredibly underrepresented, and you know there could have been a black Speaker of the House. Nancy Pelosi, you know, got some information on her. She was gonna turn her out, and they made Pelosi Speaker of the House. You know, but now you got Kamala Harris, and she's a mixed bag. I mean, you know, do you think that she really is concerned with people in America? And I'm not just black community. I'm talking about everybody. I think that she's kind of not. I don't know. You know what? I haven't heard her say anything intelligible from the beginning when it comes to what she wants to fix it about America, whatever. So, and then, you know,
I'm not scared to say anything.
Mumbly Joe, he's you know, Biden's just up there. That's all I hear when I hear. So I get it, man.
So they were talking about how many women the Republicans and the Democrats have.
Yeah.
And the Democrats have more. But the problem for the Democrats is they have more people like AOC and the Squad. Nobody wants them representing you. I don't even know who's voting for these two. I mean, these are anti-American people. So AOC's in trouble right now because she's endorsing a bunch of cop killers.
They're extremists, and they don't represent the true nature of the United States Constitution. You know, they're supposed to represent the Constitution and the people there under it and with it, which is all of us. And it doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter if you're homosexual. It doesn't matter what the hell you are. You're representing everybody equally. You know, are there groups that are underrepresented? Of course. But then that you work for goals. But here they are. I just heard a guy the other day. We started a conversation and whatever. There's no conversation right now about race. The Democrats got in. I haven't seen one thing, nothing about what they're going to help or solve or anything with anything. They're just happy they got in. It's power, and they resent it because now they have to work. They just can't criticize from the back seat. You know what I mean? And then they have a clear run, really have a clear run, basically anyway, where they can get stuff done. But they're not.
You know what party had the first woman in Congress?
Republicans.
Yep, it was Republicans. And way back in 1880, people.
And she was a transvestite.
And I don't know about back in 1880. They might have hung her for that.
named Hagatha Clinton. I remember that.
Oh, wait, who's the oldest woman in Congress?
I'll ask my girlfriend, the Queen of England. She'll remember from her childhood.
So Lewis Slaughter is the oldest woman in Congress at 88. She's a Democrat rep. She died. Well, I guess she ain't the oldest.
You see, but me personally, I don't like any of these politicians, and I go beyond the race and color and all that because you need that representation, but you need real people who live real lives, not money people who don't understand what it's like to buy a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk and what that costs, or have to jumble money around between your kids' shoes and things that they need otherwise, or buy food. And there's a lot of people that have food inequality in the United States. A lot of white people, black people, Native Americans. I mean, lots. And you think that, they can just go to a soup kitchen or they can just go to a pantry. Maybe in some places, but most places, no. Remember last year with COVID? How many thousands of people were waiting online out there in the desert in the hot sun in Vegas or like, places like Phoenix to get food, a box of food. That's the face of America people need to see, and we can fix that. We could definitely fix that.
So something that I guess they don't want to talk about. So female governors, the majority of female governors have been in the southern states, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Minnesota, Mississippi, Nevada. Oh, there's one in New York, North Dakota, Pennsylvania. These are all red states, Virginia, West Virginia. So the majority of women governors have been in red states, not in blue. So these are people with real power because the House and the Senate. Then I found this out the other day. So the majority of blacks and women that are in like Senates and House of States, the majority are in the southern states. I didn't know that either. That surprised me
They
when I
got
heard
those
that.
Daisy Dukes on. I know, man.
Well, I don't know what it is,
remember
but I
that
mean, I
TV
was
show.
surprised. I was surprised to see that. I mean, because
Yeah, and they all
it's
fell apart. Who was that idiot from Louisiana when Katrina hit, and she was like in the
oh,
helicopter flying over?
whatever. Yeah, I can't even remember her name.
She
She was an idiot.
completely fell apart, and like there was
Yeah.
one crane. She was like one little crane. Ooh, my God! What
It's
talk about a leader?
well, she was an
Oh,
idiot.
you had Ray Nagin who was shooting dice. There's your Chocolate City leadership shooting
Oh yeah,
dice in a hotel room with his emergency management team.
I guess
No, completely cut off communication wise from everybody else. Cops were stealing cars from GM. They were taking Corvettes and trucks and leaving town. They were shooting people, man. Dude, it was mayhem, and nobody ever got held accountable for that. It was like one of those purge events, and people looked the other way, like, "Oh my God!" So, and you're lucky.
yeah.
You don't live there. You're on the other side of that bridge. You're in
Well,
Mississippi.
yeah, no, well, I mean, no one's all the time, but Nagin cracked me up. I
People
mean,
don't mess
first,
with Mississippi. Have you ever heard anyone messing with
no, because
Mississippi?
they shoot you down here. They don't care.
That's why we leave it
There's
out
too
completely.
there's too much open territory to bury you alive and
You know how
stuff
they
like
say
that.
don't mess with Texas? People in Mississippi don't have to say that.
Yeah, they do like shoot up on people.
It's
I
like New
guess.
York. If you're from New York, people automatically they assume something about you anyway.
Well,
But
I know Uncle Nagin's he's out of jail. He's 65 now. He's only worth $100,000. He was worth $7 million when he went to jail. But he's nobody even hears about him anymore. And last I heard, his wife and the kids divorced him and went to Texas. And the same thing that happened to the coach down here.
he's in jail, isn't he?
No, he's out now. He's
Oh,
out. Yeah, he got 10 years. And I
man,
thought he was out.
remember he said that it was God. God
And
was
wait, what
angry
cracked
at.
me up about it, and so he was talking about how much black power he had and how he took care of the brothers and this, that, and other thing.
Uh,
Come to find out, the majority of the big money he was spending was with white people.
there you go.
When the city found out about it, the regular population of the city found out, they were seriously pissed because they thought all this corruption. They were backing him because they thought all this corruption was going to the brothers. He was giving them free money and giving them. That wasn't what went on. He was dealing with these big business people from other states and just loading them up with money, and they were giving him kickbacks. Like one guy retiled his whole house for him. That's illegal, by the way.
Because he's a sellout, man. That's what these guys do. They wanna attain that level of what they think is success, and they want to hobnob with all this scum, And these happen to be wealthy white people for the most part, right? Because again, in the wealth, black people are underrepresented. You've got your rappers, you've got your entertainers, but what about others, that the rich dentist who lives on the block or the doctor who
I
lives down
know.
the street? So it's kind of like that, but they're catching up. I mean, America's a work in progress, and when
It
people
is.
scream all this race, let me tell you, racism, sexism, all these words are going to mean nothing soon because people overuse them and misuse them. You know,
Yeah. So he was let out of prison. He was also slapped with the. I guess he can't talk about his what happened.
I want more about that Hunter Biden naked with his crazy sex acts, man.
I know. And no telling what's going on with him. They Yeah, he got. I guess he might have got let out because of COVID. No, I think he got let out before then. But it pretty much says he's not allowed to talk about any of the deal he made or anything like that. I guess he sold out some people, Uncle Nagin. I don't know. Here's another article. Yes, Republicans trying to defund police. Anybody who believes that is an absolute. Look, people, if you honestly believe the Republicans are trying to defund police, you're just stupid. That's all I can tell you. There's no way you've ever heard any Republican say they want to defund the police. Everybody you've ever heard talk about defund the police is Nancy Pelosi, Schumer, Biden, old redheaded chick, the governors of all the blue states, because they thought it was popular. I don't know. Just something else has been bothering me about the Democrats. So 10 people in a party say something's popular, so they think it is. And then they find out later on when they lose half their people in the election that it wasn't popular at all. Why don't y'all do real polls and find out what is actually popular?
Because they're listening to the crappy media that makes it up as they go along. Look at Chris Cuomo, man.
Yeah, he's. There was an article about him earlier today. I think he's catching flack over his brother. Where was it? I seen it earlier. Oh, January 6th, prosecutors have never seen so much evidence of what? Abundance of January 16 collides with suspects' right to speedy trial.
Oh God,
Oh yeah, I forgot about
you
that.
mean the overthrow of the Capitol?
So you know what's happening, right? The guy's
I've been
lawyer is going
watching
to get him off. I meant to tell you that earlier. So
it.
they did not carry his right to a speedy trial out, and they kept him in jail without bond. So the judge said, "I don't know what y'all doing. I'm releasing him today. He's never had any problems. He's never caused any problems ever in the past. What were you doing? You something about the speedy trial. You didn't do it." So his lawyer is going after him. He said, not only is he going after him because they didn't get his right to a speedy trial, which means it's going to be a mistrial, he's suing him for such. So Nancy can blow shit up her ass all she wants. This is not going to go her way. And this is the New York Times, ladies and gentlemen, talking about this. Abundance of evidence does not matter. He had the right to a speedy trial. He never got it. He never got a bond hearing. He never got a trial. It's been 7 months since this has happened. Never
What
seen a
about
judge
those
or
people?
anything.
What about the ones who burned down police stations all summer, man? What happened to them?
And that's the other thing. They're going after Nancy and them for that. They're saying, because they're not, people forget BLM did this same thing a year ago and actually went into the Capitol. But because Trump was president, we didn't want to talk about it. Yeah, people, this isn't the first group to break into the Capitol. This is the second group that we know of in this timeline. So I don't know what's going on here, but it's looking bad for Nancy and them. And then the Pentagon keeps asking Nancy who ordered the troops into D.C. because they want them to pay for it. They're saying only the president can do that, and Trump did not, and Biden was not president. So they're wanting to know who ordered it in. And from what I understand, it was Nancy. If it's true, she broke the law in a big time way. That is considered insurrection right there. That's why she's so harped on wanting to get this out and get everybody off of her and get them onto this. Because, she's trying to say this was insurrection. But when she put troops in the Capitol, that was insurrection. That was making sure her guy was getting in no matter what. So I don't know. That's the thing about the Democrats. The more you dig, the more corruption you find. The more you dig, the more corruption you find.
Oh, yeah.
When you look, if you don't have to believe me, Kirby, look around at the Republican governors in the United States right now. You're going to notice they're all like 50 or under. Santa's a young guy. What's his name? And there's a young guy. The guy here's a young guy. Most of the guys are 50 or under. So these are young guys. These aren't like the Democrats where everybody's 70 or older. Think about it. All you got to do is, if you want to understand the Democratic Party, look at how they went. So until Clinton, everybody they put in was a 70-year-old. And then Clinton was the youngest guy they ever put in. And he did okay. He was in his 50s and he got in his 60s. And then next youngest guy they had was Obama. Okay. And since then, who did they put up? And remember, and they didn't put up any black people till Obama. So then you've got a 70-year-old white woman and a 78-year-old white guy. And that's who they thought was the best candidates to run their party and their country. So two of the most corrupt people in our country is who the Democrats put up. So Nancy found out it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get their voter bill through the Senate. So she said she's going to take it to the people. Well, Nancy, I don't know why. 85% of America already told you they want voter IDs. Even Democrats want voter IDs. Only people who cheat don't want voter IDs. And I love the black woman on TV the other day. She cracks me up. So she goes, well, Democrats, what do you think? We're just stupid? We can't get an ID? She said, you do realize you can't drive a car. You can't go to the hospital. You can't go to the doctor. You can't get a prescription. Can't cash a check. Can't go to the bank. You can't do anything in this country without an ID except for vote. And you think that's right? She said, so what you're trying to tell me is black people are too stupid to go to Nico's and make a copy of their ID and put it in the mail. Is that what you're trying to tell?
Chris Rock was saying that, man.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them out there saying it now. And you can't.
He's like, what do you think black people are? Like, he's like, we can't read and write.
Yeah, no, this isn't 1900. This is 2120. The shit you're crying about happened way back when. This is not how it is anymore. You cannot do anything. Doesn't matter what color you are, green, purple, red, alien, whatever. You can't do anything in this country without ID. Why do you think illegals are so hardcore to get a driver's license? because you can't do anything without one. You can't do anything. You can't get any kind of benefits from the government without an ID. Nothing. You can't go to the hospital. The first thing the hospital asks you for is your ID. I mean, so what? You just don't have an
You got to
ID.
show you're ready to buy a Bic lighter, man.
You do, and worse than that, I mean, people at this point, it's no reason not to have an ID. Like I said, only people who want to cheat don't want IDs. Look. I think you should have an ID with your fingerprint next to it, so they know it's you. At this point, because there's too much cheating going on. This last election proved there was a lot of cheating that went on, even though the Democrats at NBC and CNN, oh no, there's never been any cheating in the election. But every election we hear, oh well, 50,000 people voted for Democrats. Democrats are the only people that people can get the vote still. Look, people. No, I'm not a Republican. I'm actually a centralist. That's why I didn't vote for Trump and I voted for Clinton. I can actually tell you that. I voted for Bush one time. I couldn't vote for him the second time. He left a bad taste in my mouth. But I voted for Clinton.
It's a tuna kind of taste, isn't it?
I tell you what, I voted for Reagan both times. I voted for Daddy Bush one time, and I voted for Clinton 2 times. I can honestly, and when it comes to local elections, I vote whatever my conscience feels.
I voted for Nader. I wasn't going to vote for Bush or Gore, and I thought Ralph Nader would have been awesome, man. And I know it's probably throwing your vote away, but Al Gore blames Nader for losing the election. Really, Al Gore was fundamentally unlikable, and he lost even Tennessee, which is his own state, which is pretty pathetic.
Well, he could have beat. You know what's funny about it? He could have beat Obama, but the hurricane came along and saved his ass. That was a godsend there. The hurricane and Krispy Kreme up there hugging up to him, that carried him over because Obama was trailing by 5 points. Stephanie and I were talking about he was trailing by 5 points coming in to the election, and then here comes Sandy, and Sandy did all kind of damage, and the country watched how Obama handled it, and he won. And he did a good job handling it. I mean, for being a Category 2 hurricane, a little wussy-ass thing. I feel for the North. Guys, I got to tell y'all, up there along the Eastern Coast in New York and all, if a Category 2 did that to y'all, you'd never want to see a Category 5 hit your town. I just want to tell you that
Hurricane Sandy was like 1, wasn't it? But it was very big. And you know what it was? It hooked in. It did something that no other hurricane did, and that's what pushed up all that water. But yeah, and that's also overbuilding on the beaches in New Jersey. They grab that. They want that tax money, right?
Well, and y'all don't have any levee systems of any kind. No drainage systems. I mean, come on, it filled up the subway with water. They didn't have any preparation for that. Now they're supposed to have airtight ceiling doors to keep that from happening.
Well, they put these super pumps that pump out like 3 inches per hour and like all.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you don't have anywhere to pump it. See, that's what New Orleans found out the hard way.
Yeah,
we got one of the best pumping systems in the world. But if there ain't nowhere to pump it, what does it really matter?
Pump it to Lake Mead, man. You get Elon Musk with his boring company make an underground tunnel full of pipes. And he ship water to Lake Mead, man, and charge them tons of money.
Well, it's funny you brought that up because Louisiana had cut a deal with New Mexico and Arizona to run because we got an abundance of fresh water here.
Yeah.
So we had cut a deal to run it, but Texas got all pissed off because Texas got, we'll send y'all fresh water. They like, no, you want too much, but Texas wouldn't let us run a pipeline. So Louisiana said, that's how you want to play this? We'll tank it out there, or we'll run it out through the Gulf, and you can't get anything. So finally, Texas and Louisiana came to some agreement, and it's a cool system. So we pipe it out, and then there's areas where it comes out of the pipe, and they have sand pits, so it's cleaning it as it's going along. So they don't even have to have any extra thing to clean it or anything. It's actually a cool system, and it supplies a lot of fresh water out there. And Texas and Louisiana, and actually Mississippi, could probably supply the whole nation with fresh water. But then, you got Illinois up there with the 5 great mistakes. So, that's all fresh water up there. So that's a lot of fresh water.
They tried running a pipeline from Canada for water down to Lake Mead in that area. They wouldn't let them do it.
Yeah, well, they won't let us pump oil anywhere. Yeah. So I'm still confused by that. So we told the Russians they could make a pipeline to Germany, but none of the companies in our country can do a pipeline. Really? So let's talk about this real quick, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're a driver who drives a lot, you're in trouble. So in this $1.5 trillion bill that the Senate's the House waiting to pass, there is a mileage tax for truckers and normal drivers. So people like me and like Mike who like to tour the country, it's going to be expensive now. Because Biden said, well, it'll help keep the roads good and it'll get the congestion down. You're an asshole. We live in America. Everybody crisscrosses the country. That's
Right.
part of being an American. It's
They
why
want
we
to
live in
keep
this big,
people
massive
down.
country.
They don't want people to hit the roads. They want to
Yeah,
keep
well,
people where
that's
they
just
are.
not going to float. That's a guaranteed loss of people right there.
Yeah.
You know how many people are going to vote? Every truck in the country is going to vote against them now. They're going to be like, because his idea was, well, if they get more modern trucks and electric trucks, it won't matter. Bullshit. You're still going to charge them for mileage.
You're not going to be able to have them. The problem with electric cars and trucks is
It takes too long to charge them, first off.
That number one, but once they're in bad weather, they can't see, and that's it. And once they have ice, and once you can have all the great sensors in the world. Once the ice cakes up, it's done. You know what I mean? And the roads are like when there's ice and snow and crap kicking up, whatever. Hard enough to see when you're a person, let alone these things don't have infrared. They don't have all kinds of sophisticated systems that's going to cost $1 million for a vehicle. They're just cars. So that's their biggest problem right now. Plus, the ones that they're testing in Arizona are running over people and killing them. And that's in good weather.
So I'm reading about this guy. So, what's it say? It says Timothy Castle, suspect in January copy riots. It's been 7 months. It's still dragging on, and the prosecutor has still not brought charges. The government has suggested had created a kind of vicious cycle. Hail something Hitler inspector cause of storming the Capitol. So the judge got pissed and said, no more of this. He's not allowing any more new evidence at all. He told them no. He said, it's been way too long. He said, you're releasing the guy now on bond. He's getting out, and you're not bringing any more charges against the guy. And he said, as far as it goes, he said he may mistrial this for not doing a speedy trial. He said this is on the prosecutors because they could never get enough evidence to prosecute the guy, so they kept him in jail, which is illegal in this country, completely illegal in this country. And thanks to some of the other news medias like Newsmax and Fox and a few of the other ones, nonstop on this, the judge is like, no more. Judge Trevor Macton reasoned that more evidence generated that needed to be given to the defense, and the evidence that had been turned over is no longer would be taken to resolve this case. Is not taken anymore. He is pissed. The judge is pissed. He said this has been handled poorly. The prosecutors did not do their job. And it says again, he lost patience with the prosecutors. The preceding judge lost patience with the prosecutors. He basically told prosecutors to go F themselves. So that's why Nancy's trying to get this thing going so she can get it. But they're still saying that no one killed this cop. They're trying to put it on this guy, but he didn't do it. And the video shows he didn't do it. All he did was, what they're trying to get him on? He was spraying pepper spray. They said he was spraying pepper spray on the cops on the line that allowed the people to break through. Yeah. I don't think that's a misdemeanor at best. I don't know, guys. That sounds like some bullshit to me, and be held in jail for 7 months for this.
I thought he got clunked in the head or something.
That's what they're saying.
Fire extinguisher.
Yeah, they said it wasn't even these people that did it. Most of the people there said it was an accident. That he hit up against a wall and knocked it down. So, and then something about some cop beating some guy up there. They were going to bring charges on the cop now. This is not going away. Auntie Nancy wants it to go, but what can you do? I mean, when all you do is make up shit all the time, and the judge wants to know who was in charge of the police department, which, by the way, is the House, and they want to know why they want more people there. They said for Black Lives Matter, you had 4 times as many officers there. The judge even said, directed at Nancy, said, you knew this was coming and you did nothing, which means you're responsible for this. So, Nancy's just dancing in circles like she always does. They
didn't do nothing. They allowed it to happen. They encouraged it. They wanted those guys to go in there. They let them in there. They opened up the doors and say, hey, go on in. You know that? They did that because they wanted this confrontation.
Of course they did.
Yeah,
here you go.
Say, look what you did. Look what you did. See, whatever.
Here you go. AOC backed group honors multiple convicted cop killers. The movement for Black Lives, which has been touted as a progressive Democrats like New York Rep. Alexander Ocasio-Cortez, has honored multiple convicted cop killers. Look, New Yorkers, if y'all vote this bitch in again, I'm never coming to your state again. I got to come up to get an award this year. I might just have them mail it to me. I mean, really, any people who would vote for someone who backs cop killers, shouldn't even be allowed to vote. I mean, remember, this is the woman that's going to get the cops fired in your neighborhoods. And like all my black friends tell me, we want the cops there. Without the cops, it would be, wild, wild west again. That's most of the neighborhoods in the South would turn into the wild, wild west without the cops. Nah, it don't have to do anything to do with blacks or whites. It's just, criminals versus
It has to do with
criminals.
crime and poverty.
Yeah. And then every time I hear about Black Lives Matter, and then still they haven't gone after, in case y'all didn't know this, people tell me all the time, well, it's because of Trump, Black Lives Matter. So no, it started under Obama in his first term. I don't know where the hell you've been or how ignorant you are, but Black Lives Matter started under Obama and went on a rampage for 2.5 years.
Yep.
It only did it for 6 months under Trump, and Trump threatened to bring out the National Guard. That's why it stopped. They did. It broke all kind of crumbs. Finally, the 4 leaders of the original one all ended up in jail. And now they're looking at putting the 3 leaders in. One of the guys is a socialist. The girls bought, 3 houses in New York at like $3-4 million each. And y'all are touting them as good people. Let me ask you this. To anybody who backs Black Lives Matter, have y'all seen any of this money? Has any black neighborhood seen any money or any help from BLM? Because nobody I know has. I mean, I talked with a lot of people down here, and nobody down here seen it. And we got a 50% black population. And
just like how Native Americans don't celebrate the money taken in by casinos, it's run by one particular clan, and they keep that money very tight in that group, and they're wealthy people, but they don't share it. Most Native Americans live in horrible trailers and shacks and on reservations. You know how it goes. They suffer.
Indians get screwed, and it's something I brought up before. I've said this, and I've said this to my friends because I do some press work with BLM down here from time to time, and I said I'm gonna tell y'all what I said. If y'all go after reparations, you're gonna lose any support from me and any white people. We're gonna all back the Native Americans, which let's be honest, they were treated far worse than any slaves were, and they're still being treated far worse than anybody in the country right now. And I said, have you been on a reservation lately? With the few exceptions that have casinos and have oil or have uranium, the rest of them are shitholes. I mean shitholes, and they make a ghetto look like a pleasant place to live.
Yeah, I was just out there, man. Hopi, Res, and also Navajo. It's abject poverty, really, and you see how intimidated Native Americans are when white people are around.
Yeah,
or anybody
they
for
are.
that matter.
So this is one somebody sent me. Fact check.
Because they hate us.
They don't hate us actually, but it depends if you got Native American blood.
It depends on who.
So I got Native American blood, so they don't hate me as much. But fact check. Candace Owens falsely claims CDC proposed putting high-risk people in camps during the pandemic. CNN, no, that's true. They did. On 2 different occasions, they talked about the most sick people, maybe they should be isolated from other groups of Americans. They actually did say that. I still kept the clip even that day. So CNN, if you listen, who wrote this? By Holmes LeBrand. I will send you the thing because obviously you did not do your homework or your research. CNN has just become what they remind me of is the Chinese media. They're just propaganda.
Pravda.
Pravda is a little different though, because Pravda sometimes will actually
Pravda back in the day.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, back in the day they were ridiculous.
State-run media, right? I mean, that's what it is.
And see, here's NBC. I love this one. How mini Trump is running Florida into the ground amidst COVID deaths. Okay, again, another lie. That's why he came out. That's why he's suing them over this. There hasn't been that many deaths in Florida, nowhere near what they had. And even if you take the deaths now and the deaths from the last year, they still don't go nowhere near what New York had. So again, MSNBC, you're lying and you're being busted for it. You're mad because this guy is going to blow Biden out of the water. You're mad because the other day he told Biden to shut up until he fixes the border and stop letting people carrying COVID into our country. What's the matter, NBC? Why don't you want to talk about that? See, it's just like I said, it's just propaganda.
You don't think
not a word of truth in this whole thing.
They want people to be at the behest of the government, where they make the rules, the emergency use powers and all this other stuff, right? Look what Cuomo did, man. How many tens of thousands of people died in nursing homes that didn't need to die? And he lied. He lied. I watched his meetings. He lied day after day, saying that these nursing homes could reject sick people. They weren't even allowed to ask if somebody was sick, and they had no particular area even to put them. And there he is every day in his meetings, if you can't take these ill people, you call the health department and we find a place for them. That's bullcrap. And The health department at that time was overrun with COVID. They weren't even answering the phone for these places because they were all panicking.
Oh, here, let me ask you something. So this is from the Washington Post. Now, the Washington Post and Times are two different things, in case y'all know, people. But Democrats are betting that Republicans won't allow the debit to default. Really, Democrats, didn't y'all let it default twice?
Yep.
That I can remember. I wouldn't be worried about that because Republicans are way ahead in the polls right now. Y'all are way behind in the polls. Currently, all the polls show them winning everything in 2022. And it's even forecasting now, even Vegas is forecasting that they're going to be the next president's going to be a Republican, not a Democrat. So I'm not sure that it'll go with this. And all they're going to say is, we're not going to back a $4 trillion spending bill. That's all they're going to say without knowing who's paying for it. Because Joe Biden said it would only be the rich, but the party said that can't work. You're going to have to tax the middle class as well as the rich.
Yeah.
And in case you don't know this, it's illegal to just randomly tax groups. Because it doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, or in between. A tax rate is a tax rate. You can't have special tax rates because somebody has more money than you. That's actually illegal under the Constitution. So, but as we've seen from Biden, he don't care about the Constitution. Now, see, I'm going to tell you what they're doing down here with the new thing that the CDC put out, saying that, oh, well, y'all can't throw people out. Well, the judges are saying yes, you can. Because the CDC does not have the right to do that. It's not in their mandate to do it. Congress has to do it. Biden, you let it run out. This is all on you, Biden. Even your own party saying this is all on you. You let it run out. It's your problem. And these people around other states are getting thrown out because they're saying, hey, I can't have it anymore. Somebody has to pay this rent. And you left the landlords in the dirt, Biden, and you just left them there. So even if they were going to be nice and let people stay, they don't have the money to let them stay anymore because they're going to lose their properties. And the bankers are going to definitely put them out because they have to. When they take over property, you have to put everybody out. So what are you going to do here, Biden? You stuck your foot up your ass yet again.
There's no money. And those landlords need to pay bills too.
Yeah, they do. They have to pay bills. So the judges down here in the South are like, look, we're not going to do all that. If you need to throw them out so you can get a paying customer there, go ahead. What do you mean did I take? You mean did I not pay? No, I have a mortgage. Oh no, I don't rent. I pay a mortgage, and no, the mortgage company don't give a shit. They're going to be like, no, pay your bills or we're going to take your house. Yeah, there was no safety for people. Yeah, in case y'all didn't know that, there was no safety net for people who had mortgages. It was only for renters. Oh yeah, the most you could have hoped for, you could have called the bank and said, hey, I might give you 3 months, and they might. Now I'm lucky. I have a private lender, and if I needed the time, she would have gave it to me. But we were lucky, so we stayed busy enough to pay our bills. But still, and my note's not that high in my house; it's only $750 a month, so it's not outrageous. Yeah, it's kind of strange. What was this one? House Dem moderates lay out battle lines as Pelosi stands firm. Good, Pelosi. We want you to stand firm. That means your stupid bill isn't going to get passed. We want you to be hard-headed and ignorant like you always are. She got to be the most ignorant person I've ever seen that ever served in Congress. I mean, she's just ignorant. My dog got more common sense than she does. And she's a chihuahua and she got more common sense.
Guaranteed.
I'm just saying, I mean, it's bad at this point. But if y'all really think, Democrats, that the Republicans won't hang y'all out to dry like y'all did them under Trump, don't even think they won't. Y'all did it to them under Trump. They'll just feel like they're returning the favor. And it ain't going to matter what the media says, it's still going to fall on Biden. Because all the Republicans are going to say it's bullshit, it's bullshit, it's bullshit. The bill has stuff that we don't need in it. Nobody can pay for it. And they're going to keep telling you we can't afford it, we can't afford it. And when they finally get it all out and get it down to about $1 trillion, it might get passed in.
Right.
Cuomo resigns, shines light on incoming Governor Kathy Hoochie. Her name's Hoochie?
Hoochie.
Hoochol, whatever it is. So I was listening to this lady is so happy she almost peed herself. So she's trying to act all refrained and, oh, no, So then she finally says, oh, yeah, I can't wait to be your governor. I'll show you how to do it right. We'll see. So you were the assistant governor, so you know Cuomo was doing this and you let him get away with it. They might come after you too, Miss Hoochie girl.
That's right.
They're not even thinking about, here we go. Oh, I love Paskey takes aim at DeSantis over Florida ventilator request. What Florida ventilator request? He said yesterday he didn't request any ventilators. So, you're lying yet again. This is the Hill. You're just making shit up. Just like she said, oh, Republicans want to defund the cops. Look, chick, all you proved yourself is you're just a liar. That's all you've done. Yeah, he was talking about it the other day. They don't need ventilators right now. Their state's
I
fine.
don't get her, and I don't like her. I don't understand why they have her. It's just not doing them any favors.
Booker sees GOP policy defund measure as a gift. They're not trying to defund any cops. I don't know what y'all getting from there. Porn stores. A guy went to jail that runs a porn stores. I didn't know he knew about the. I'm sorry. Did I say porn?
Who is that?
Pawn. I'm pawn. Sorry, guys. Porn. Probably.
Which one was that?
That's a guy from the double ball-headed guy. What's his name?
Rick
Chumley.
Harris?
It just says Chumley pleads guilty, says goodbye to pawn stores. So I guess he's on his way out.
I think it's a fake story, man.
Let's see. Late night hosts react to Andrew Cuomo's resignation. Oh, yeah. Why don't y'all go crazy like y'all did over Trump? FDA opposed to authorize third vaccine dose for immune compromised people. Yes, we already talked about that. Oh, now we got to get close. Surprising reason pros. We don't care about that. Joe Manchin and Christian Sherman could push for a big cuts to Democrats' $3.5 trillion spending. Yeah, even the Democrats don't want this. I don't know what they're thinking about here. And none of this is, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, you should look at these bills, okay? Like this last one. Most of the shit doesn't go to help us. So out of the $1.5 trillion for the infrastructure, only 400 million or 300 million is actually going to infrastructure. The rest is going to pork belly projects for the Democrats' friends. And that's what this 3.5 trillion is over. None of this is to help the people. They try to tell you, they'll tell you about 3 projects out of 50 that are good for you, another 47 are not. And we're paying for this. So they got a 1.5 trillion with the Republicans. That's $5 trillion. He's already done a $2 trillion thing earlier. That's going to put him at 7 trillion in less than his first year. So what's he going to ask for next year? 10 trillion?
Chumley's all right, man. I just looked it up. You're looking at one of those sites that have those ads that flash, and they want clickbait. They want people to click.
Oh no, that was I forgot what the name of it hell was. Associated Press posted it.
Exactly.
Well, AP is still supposed to be the way AP is.
Right here. Chumley weight loss explored, how he transformed his body. He did lose a ton of weight. I love the guy. He went from being the guy they made fun of and like this fat joke, and he kind of parlayed that into a lot of stuff for himself. I mean,
what is this one? Wait, hold on. Crime beat. Woman weaponizes cheesecake. Cop shoots man in Costco line. I'm going to have to read that later on. I don't know what that is.
Cheesecake murder.
This is something else. Okay, people, this is just disgusting. Carly B doesn't understand why celebrities are talking about not bathing. It's giving her the itchies. Okay, this is a thing. So a lot of big celebs are saying that they're not bathing daily or not bathing like once a week. They said they only bathe their kids when they're dirty. Okay, don't take this the wrong way, people. I've raised several children. Kids get dirty every day. They can't help themselves. They're little heathen little shits that are always into something. They need to be bathed. Now, I'm not saying you got to get crazy like what was The Rock came out and said, well, I guess I'm not famous anymore. I take 3 baths a day. That's like, yeah, that's something else we didn't need to know either. But really, that makes me not even want to watch you on the TV. It makes me think I'm going to catch lice or something watching you on TV because you don't take a bath. Look, you don't have to take a bath every day if you clean people, but still, once a week, no. And a couple of them said like every 2 months they take a bath. You're not even getting in my car if you take a bath every 2 months. I'm just telling you that now ahead of time. Don't bring your stinky ass up in my car. It ain't going to happen. And why would you brag about this?
You're talking about a bath or a shower?
Bath or a shower or bath, anything. They don't do anything. They don't get clean. I don't get it. And this poor chick here, Carly B, she's like, what is this? Y'all are disgusting. And she's like, it's a rapper wrote on Twitter, people are disgusting.
Well, who are they naming? Like who? Is it like Kevin Bacon or something? Like,
oh no, it's like almost every major star out there. There was like 75 of them that came out. It was stupidly ridiculous. It was like a Twitter thing, and they all got in a frenzy and started talking about how they didn't bathe their children. And what's her name? What's the one that divorced her old man? She got the 6 kids they adopted and one they had. Oh,
Angelina Jolie.
and yeah, she says she only bathes once every 2 weeks.
She's
Really?
creepy, man. She's creepy all the way
You
around.
know, well, she was
Poor,
married to Billy Ed, so you know she's a
poor
little weird.
Brad Pitt. Look at that their long ass divorce, and she keeps dragging him through the courts and through the
And
coals.
yet she didn't fight with Billy Ed at all, you know. And she used to carry a vial. In case you ought to notice, she used to carry a vial of Billy's blood around her throat.
Damn.
Yeah, yeah, she was weird. Like she's a weird chick. Still is a weird chick, I should say. Video: Carly B calls out celebs for not showering or bathing. It makes me itchy. It makes me itchy too. Let's see, man. It just goes on
Back
and
in the
on.
day, people
Ashton
took a bath
Kutcher,
once a week, and they took
Mila
showers the rest of the time.
reported inside Zach. Amelia Kutcher's, what's her name? From the '70s show. Her husband Ashton Kutcher. Oh, come on, man. Christian Bell, get out of here. None of these people take. Oh, y'all nasty. Ooh, cock. I'm not even gonna watch y'all on TV anymore. I'm not starting a trend. I shower. Trust me, I shower. I'm Aquaman. I'm in the effing water. Don't worry about it. He said, I'm in the Hawaiian salt water. Don't worry. I'm clean on time. Dude, you might not take a bath. You kind of look like one of the guys that might not take a bath. Look, people, I'm not saying you got to take a bath every day. I mean, if you clean, it's
The
one
ocean
thing.
is
But
not clean.
I know. Yeah, I know. That's even another reason to take a shower. I'm just saying, people, go take a bath, okay? Oh, there he is, Rudy Giuliani. That's what I was trying to think of earlier. Joins Cameo wants $325 million for a personal greeting or shout out. Oh, $325 for a personal greeting. Dude, you can kiss my white ass. Or in this case, my red ass, whatever happy color it might be. I'm just saying, I can't give you money to give me a shout out. Get the hell out of here. Oh, by the way, people, don't forget, Science and Beyond is up for finals. I'm going to be doing my acceptance speech on the next couple of days. I'll play it up for everybody to see. Oh, it doesn't mean I won. I got competition. There's other shows, but we did well. Some of the other shows almost made it. I got faith that we'll have more than one show in next year. I'm going to be doing some special Science and Beyonds over the next few weeks because people are going to be looking. The final cut is September 30th, I believe. So I got to have my acceptance speech in by the 24th. So if anybody got any ideas, let me know. I am happy and proud that the show won or got that far. Any way it goes, we're going to get mega press out of this, so it's going to help the station and everybody else in the station as well, because the show will get mentioned quite a few times, and so will the network. So that, and then we got honorable mention with iHeart this year for best broadcaster, national broadcaster, by the way. And then we've won local broadcaster the last 2 years in a row. We're kicking ass, people. Because of shows like this and other shows where we actually talk about shit that matters, like Science and Beyond. John and I had gotten, not just him, but other hosts, we got into many debates over what real science is, what science should be doing, because we actually care. We're people. We're not multi-millionaires. We're people that actually care. Michael, when you hear us talking, we're talking because we talk about this a lot. And, like Sinead earlier when she asked me, why do I take Michael's opinion? Michael is one of the trackers. Michael was right on with Delta, and Michael was warning y'all about Delta before any of the news media even, but at least 4 weeks before any of the news media even talk about it. 6 weeks before they really got into it good. He's been telling y'all, pay attention, Lambda's next, watch what's coming, watch what's coming.
Was that Sinead O'Connor, man?
I don't know, I didn't read
Nothing
all of that.
compares
Oh,
to
yeah.
you.
Yeah, Sinead. Have you seen her lately? She's a freak, man.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know,
my
man.
God, all freaked out.
I think she probably always was, and just now
Yeah, she was. That's why she shaved it. I
now
remember when
she's a has been. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
she was out there saying that Arsenio Hall sold the drugs to Prince that killed him, man. And then it was like this big tete-a-tete, and Arsenio Hall had to do this investigation and come after her. Like, that's a hell of a claim.
What do you mean? Would I get a third shot if they tell me I need one? Yeah, I'm not. Look, people, but I'm doing a J&J. I'm not doing these CRISPR technologies that we don't know what they're going to do. I'm sorry. Look, I'm still old school. Look, this technology is supposed to be a great thing. This stuff's supposed to be able to hunt down cancer in your body and eat it. So I'm all for this new technology, but not experimenting on 7 billion people. I mean, this just feels icky to me. And then, oh wait, who was it? Rand Paul or I can't remember. It was one of the Republicans the other day went off on the CDC because they want to take DNA samples of everyone in America. Well, they want DNA samples from everybody in the world. Why? What do you want my DNA for?
They're going to
I
put
don't.
it.
I don't trust the CDC as far as I can throw them.
They're
I
going
mean,
to
which
send
is
it to Sinead, and she's going to keep the list.
yeah. I'm getting more and more worried every day about what's going on in our countries. It's just a sad state of affairs. Oh, here we go. CNN anchor dishes on how some feel about Chris Cuomo.
Nothing compares to
Brian
you.
Sutler says some people at CNN are ticked off at Chris Cuomo a wide range of opinions. Why? He ain't like he did anything.
Because one, he wasn't even allowed. They told him he wasn't allowed to talk about it. So here's your brother's the governor. You're on the news. You're an anchor, and then now you're restricted. You can't talk about it, which is crazy. But he's a jerk off anyway. And look at
Yeah,
CNN. It's a joke. CNN's a joke. They're not even
they
serious.
are, Joe. Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson's son Chet calls COVID the flu and antivirus rant. Look at him, boy. His mom and his daddy got it
Little
when they
rich
were in
boy,
Australia. He's putting it on him. He's like, I
little
ain't getting this crap.
little cushioned rich boy, man. He's like, I'm going to stay in my
Uh,
yacht, and I'm not even going to come into shore.
Jeffrey, no, I got the shot. I got the shot for a couple of reasons because I'm in a lot of people's homes, but we'll talk about that more in another show. Here we go. We got to go after this. NASA to study 700 quadrillion gold mine asteroid. So, a long time ago, people asked me why we would get into space. This is one of the reasons. The very first asteroid they found was a nickel iron asteroid that was
Oh
worth
yeah,
$1 trillion.
mining
So,
companies.
in the asteroid field, they really believe that there are hundreds of quadrillions of dollars of minerals in the asteroid fields that we can bring home to our planet. That's not including any of the other planets. So basically, what they're telling you is the solar system is a gold mine, and it's time to get out there. Well, the rich people already knew that. Jeff Bezos and Tesla and all them, and well, not Tesla, but what's his name? What is his name? Elon Musk, who's married to the
What's the
crazy
damage?
girl.
Think about this. That we already have enough problems with billionaires. Imagine having armies of trillionaires. At what point is that money, especially if it doesn't get distributed? If you're going to say, I'm going to go out in space and we're going to share the wealth and whatever, they're not going to do that. It's just going to be about more power, robber barons, what they have over your head, and how they can control you. Sinead, kiss my ass.
Munchin warns again. Munchin and 10 other Democrats warn Democrats: if you pass the 3.5 trillion package, it will do nothing but end your party. And he's one of them. So he's telling them right out. Higher but still slim odds of asteroid Bennu slamming into Earth.
There you go.
Whatever.
That we don't want. But
Uh,
the aliens will protect us, man. The aliens.
Carly, we got to go. But what do you mean? Who will I vote for? You mean if Trump and Biden run again? I'm voting for myself. Yes, I'm gonna put myself on a ballot.
I'm going to go to Canada and hang out with Amelia.
Y'all haven't noticed how quiet Trump's been lately? That should scare you people. Yeah. NASA can't find the Mars rock sample that the Preservation rover drilled. What? It's in the damn rover. How you can't find it? Okay, NASA. That's why the billionaires are running everything and you morons aren't anymore. I mean, I was, don't get me wrong, people, I was one of the biggest supporters of NASA ever. But lately, in the last half a decade or so, NASA's become, like that faster, better, cheaper program. That was the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. What do you expect was going to happen? Shit was going to break and fall out the sky. We're going to lose stuff. Because faster, better, cheaper don't work. That's why Boeing and Lockheed and Elon and them and all these other companies, they don't have these problems. Yeah, they blow up shit, but they keep making it better. Y'all just kept making it cheaper. It was useless. And don't forget the Percy Media Shower tonight and tomorrow night. Be sure to go out and catch it.
It's the government's lowest bidder. Do you really want to fly into space?
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
A craft built by the lowest bidder. I mean,
yeah.
Cheaper is never better.
Yeah. Anyway, we got to get people because coming up next is the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano.
Ooh,
they
the
will
beautiful
be
Amelia Pisano.
Yes, the very
amazing, talented. I like the other one too on there, but I love them both, man. We have a lot of love going on here. Except for those Satanists there on that other show.
Oh, well, we were just talking about this. So it's looking like Hackman Jeffries, who's hard left progressive, might be who replaces Nancy this year. It's a black gentleman, by the way. That would be nice to see. I hate progressives, but
that'll never happen. But good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, here we go. Pillow Talk video shows Hunter Biden saying he lost laptop in Vegas and feared blackmail. Well, let me tell you what, Hunter. You better hope I
You
don't
mean
find
like he was with a black male in the video, or he fears or fears black
Look,
male? Like
don't hate on black people like that, man.
I'm
Look,
saying, like which part of it? I ain't hating on it.
no. But we got to go anyway. Coming
We
up next,
all
there will be
we all have
on.
our Terry Crews
I
fantasies.
know.
Everybody's gay sometimes. Come on, man.
But anyway, guys, we got to go because we're already 5 minutes in that time. So anyway, y'all be sure to check us out. We'll be on Science and Beyond Friday. We'll be doing a little bit of science, talking a little bit more stuff. I know somebody had asked me if I was going to do the science of COVID. I don't know, man. COVID will probably get me kicked off of YouTube again. Even though you know you're right, even when you're right and evidence is on your side, YouTube still sometimes kicks your
It's
ass
already
off.
to the point where if you mention it, they kind of take your, like Facebook makes your post like not visible to anybody. You know what I mean? And you actually have to space it out between spaces if you're going to spell out COVID-19. Otherwise, they do
Oh,
that.
I got to save this. Scientists say they may have figured out the Bermuda Triangle. Oh, I got to read about this. Probably some kind of wormhole or whirlpool or some shit like that. That
That
doesn't
was a great
exist.
bar down in Brooklyn back in the day,
Uh,
man.
I'll tell you, one of the best bars I used to ever hang out in was called Aliens. The place was wickedly good. Right across from Godfather. This is a great place. But anyway, we've got to go. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Y'all be sure to catch Michael. He'll be on Thursday. I'll be back on Friday.
Red pill news.
Everybody stay out of trouble till then. Be sure you
That's
check
right.
out the ladies coming up next.
Take the red pill.
Take the red pill. I got to take one every night. Matter of fact, I just took one a few
Red
minutes ago.
pill.
But anyway, guys, on that note, we will see y'all later. So stay out of.
Hey, where'd you go? I'm here by myself in space. Red pill news every Thursday, 8 p.m.